I really wanted to like Megalopolis. Francis Ford Coppola is one of the greatest living filmmakers, and it was really badass that he defied the studio system and used his own money to bring his ambitious passion project to life. But Megalopolis just really isn't good. I don't think it's a misunderstood masterpiece that will one day be venerated as a forgotten classic. I think it's just not a very good movie. It felt like this year's answer to Beau is Afraid, the work of a madman auteur with way too much creative control. I can safely say I've never seen anything like it, but I can't say I enjoyed it. Megalopolis is more a collection of ideas than a cohesive narrative. It's less a screenplay than a manifesto dressed up in faux Shakespearean grandiosity. It's more than an hour shorter than Killers of the Flower Moon, but it feels twice as long. I felt like I'd just binge-watched a 10-episode miniseries. I was really rooting for Megalopolis, but even looking at it through the most favorable lens, this movie is a boring, tedious mess. This video will contain mild spoilers for Megalopolis. Megalopolis is set in a modernized reimagining of ancient Rome, but the world building isn't very subtle. It's basically just contemporary New York with more grapes and orgies, and everyone reads the New Rome Post. The plot is technically about an architect who wants to rebuild the city as a utopia, and the mayor who wants to keep the dystopia the way it is. But it quickly goes off the rails, and that rivalry takes a backseat to a bunch of random subplots. It increasingly focuses on Shia LaBeouf's bid for power, which is a not-so-subtle parallel to the current US political climate. Shia plays a spoilt brat from a wealthy family who wants the highest political power purely to boost his ego and riles up a fervent cult following of impressionable idiots by presenting himself as an outsider and a man of the people. He hands out red caps to his followers, he stokes political violence, and eventually all that violent rhetoric comes back to bite him. Sound familiar? Tonally, Megalopolis is all over the place. Sometimes it's a contemplative political drama, sometimes it's an absurdist satire, sometimes it's a grounded dystopian thriller, sometimes it's a mind-bending surrealist psychedelic odyssey. Sometimes it's a character study about a grieving widower trying to forge the future while remaining hung up on the past. Sometimes it's a superhero movie about a guy who can inexplicably freeze time. This movie cannot for the life of it figure out what the fuck it wants to be, and you're left watching a floundering epic limp to the finish line. The ensemble cast has some of the greatest actors in the world, but they're all acting like they're in a different movie. Adam Driver seems to change his mind on whether to play it serious or silly in every scene, sometimes within a single scene. Giancarlo Esposito and Lawrence Fishburne both bring a really captivating gravitas to their roles, but they're deserving of much more compelling material. Jason Schwartzman thinks he's still in a Wes Anderson film, playing every scene with deadpan smarm. Jon Voight looks like he just woke up at the beginning of every take. Joe Biden's 2024 debate performance was more coherent. And I don't know what the hell Shia LaBeouf is doing. He switches between playing Caligula and the Joker. He's like Jared Leto in House of Gucci. He goes way bigger and way broader than any of his co-stars. Aubrey Plaza is a bright spot as an insatiable TV personality. It's fun to see April Ludgate playing Joan Calamezzo, and she has an interesting Lady Macbeth femme fatale arc, but as the film goes on, she's reduced to acting out Coppola's weird fetishistic fantasies.
Don't you do it, Hitler. Don't you dare fall in love with me. Oh, Hitler, you sexy bastard. No!
Megalopolis is visually stunning. Coppola hasn't lost his flair for cinematic imagery, but unfortunately he has lost his flair for economic, thematically focused screenwriting. He's been working on the script for Megalopolis for 50 years. Is this really the best he could come up with? Megalopolis is proof that it's possible to overwrite something. The entire script seems to be constructed of various meandering scribblings from half a century's worth of notebooks, and there's nothing holding those scribblings together. The dialogue sounds like a student filmmaker trying to be deep. It's full of pseudo-intellectual nonsensisms like don't let the now destroy the forever. Even these great actors can't make any of these lines sound like something a person would actually say. I can't believe the guy who came up with iconic lines like "look how they massacred my boy" and "I love the smell of napalm in the morning" is the same guy who came up with gems like "what do you think about my boner?" That's an actual line Jon Voight says in this movie.
Boner.
I think this movie's existence alone is noteworthy, and I'm sure film scholars will be discussing this thing for a long time, but probably not in a complimentary way. For months now, Megalopolis has been getting free publicity in the form of controversies, behind-the-scenes drama, and extremely mixed reviews. But frankly, all of that stuff is a million times more interesting than the film itself. And for all the engagement Megalopolis has gotten online, I don't think that's translated into an audience actually wanting to see it. When I watched it on its opening day in a giant 200-seat theatre, I could count on one hand how many people were in my screening. That's anecdotal, but I think we could be looking at a historic box office bomb, and I can't say you're missing much. Coppola has certainly made a curious film, but he hasn't made a great film. There might be something in here that some people will like, but The Godfather, this ain't.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
What?
It insists upon itself.
What does that even mean?
It takes forever getting in. You spend like 6.5 hours.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.